Hello everyone, I am Dhaval, founder of Codebasics and co-founder of AtliQ Technologies. In today's video, I and Karan, the CEO of AtliQ Technologies, are going to share the learning lessons from 5 real-life AI implementation that we worked on for our clients. And these AI implementations are going to be very relevant in the coming year, which is 2026. Since we have NDAs with our clients, we are going to keep certain things abstract, but the learning lessons from this video are going to be very useful just in case you're thinking of starting an AI project in your company. I hope you find this conversation useful. Let's get started. The first use case I want to talk about is the voice AI agent that we built for our Dubai-based client. I still remember the day when you were giving me a demo and I was asking many out of scope questions. I was interrupting it a lot and it was able to handle all those scenarios beautifully. So what were your major learning lessons from that project?
So one of the things is people would almost always instantly identify that this is an AI. Like you're asking it some nonsensical questions, right? People actually do that a lot with AI agents, that they ask questions that are out of the scope or rather irrelevant to the subject that the call is about. So first thing that you have to focus is the AI agent should not dive down to a different topic. Because every AI agent, every voice agent could be supported by an LLM, right? And when you talk about let's take an example of ChatGPT. ChatGPT could handle a conversation where you start up talking about rocks and minerals, then you go and talk about space, and then you go and talk about biology. For ChatGPT, it doesn't care about context after a point as long as you are directing towards it. The guardrails that have to be there that ensure that your voice agent, your colleague agent is not just diving down to a different rabbit hole is very much important for use cases like these.
And what was the technology stack for that project?
We used a platform called LiveKit. It's an open source platform. It is used actually by a lot of different proprietary platforms or private platforms as their backend as well, which are providing, of course, calling services.
Okay. Let's talk about the second project, which is cognitive automation. So we have this startup in auto finance in US, and they are building this cognitive automation platform. And I was personally involved in that project. And the project had different dimensions. So I would like to share some of the learning lessons from my side. The first one was it is very important to educate clients on AI in a right way, because nowadays business owners are curious about AI. They talk to ChatGPT, they learn different jargons. It's important that as AI engineering team, we educate them not just on the capabilities of different paradigms in AI, different models of in the world of AI, but we also inform them about the limitations.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the very important thing, and you want to do it in a certain way that it doesn't hurt their ego and it is managing their expectation in a right manner.
And that's not just true for AI projects, but for software products as well. What's happening, like since we're a solutions and services companies, what's happening right now is anybody and everybody who's coming to us is going to ChatGPT first. They're simply asking ChatGPT a question, that ChatGPT or Claude or whatever model there are. They're simply asking a question that I want to build this, how do I do it? They'll copy paste literally the first thing that they get out of it, share it to us as a requirement. So people think about architectures, people think about different requirements just from a ChatGPT perspective, which as you rightly said, we have to educate them against. Like it doesn't carry nuances, it doesn't carry experiences. It is just getting an average out of what data it has been trained on.
And you remember that incident where we were classifying tons and tons of logs, and the OpenAI bill was going high, right? It was a high cost in terms of tokens, and we came up with a hybrid approach where for fixed patterns you use regex, then for patterns for which you have enough data you use statistical model, and then for the remaining use cases we used LLMs. So it's very important that we use hybrid approach. Even for regular software projects, you will always find that there is not a single approach that will work on all kind of use cases. You have to come up with if-else decision tree kind of hybrid approach which can optimize for cost as well as for accuracy.
And it's also about building something which is very robust, which is taking care of all the business scenarios. As an example, if you're using YOLO as an object detection model, right? I'm just going a bit abstract here. So let's say you're using YOLO as an object detection model. Now, YOLO would have its own failures in certain cases. Now you can bring in a classification model which is like taking from YOLO, but it's rather classifying into different objects. Let's say here we are classifying as fruit and vegetable, and what YOLO is doing, it's an edible item. So YOLO is telling you if this is an edible item or not. You're using another classifier which is telling you, is this going to be a fruit or a vegetable or something which is cold? So you can have multiple approaches in a pipeline, or it could be a voting mechanism as well, whereas you get a response for 5 different models and you find out what is the best one. In our case, in the case of the FitTech client that we talked about, it was of course like a pipeline where we pass the data through all the models and finally get an output. But I think that's how things go.
The last learning lesson I would like to mention is we started with OpenAI's best model. We could have started with Llama, obviously, but our idea was let's start with the best model so that you get a benchmark, and then let's optimize for the cost. So while optimizing for the cost, let's say if you're using any open source model, and if you see issues with the accuracy, you understand that the difference in the model, okay, the model selection is playing a role here.
Correct. And see, you can't always win in all the angles of life, right? So when you're optimizing for quality, you have to forego the cost. If you're doing it for, let's say, for the cost, you have to forego quality as well. But you have to remember that, again, like as you talked about hybrid, this is going to be a hybrid decision that you are making. So you have to balance between both quality and the cost of your output. What if you are having a cost such high that it's not feasible for the business to run out together? In that case, let's compromise on quality. But it's always beneficial for us to find a middle ground. And bringing on to our first point, education or literacy is very important in this case.
Okay, the next use case I would like to mention is the IoT client from North America. So this project was detecting anomalies for the IoT sensors that they have, and we were using a statistical model, XGBoost model, which was performing well. But later on, when we started deploying to production, we were facing the issues. And we realized the importance of data engineering at this point. Many founders, many people who start AI projects, they are lost in the shininess of AI, but they don't realize the importance of data engineering. Once you have proper data engineering infrastructure, it provides high quality data that you can use to build your AI solution. So anything else you would like to add here?
It's very relevant. And let's say whatever problem you're solving using AI, one thing that you have to always keep in mind is AI model is as good as the data it is trained on. Let's say you have a data which is very much skewed, then you're going to get bad results only. When people talk about overfitting, when people talk about underfitting, it depends upon model parameters, but it also depends upon the data quality that you have. And one problem that I've always seen, as you said, right, people would have different versions or different types of data for different environments. Let's say when we are training the model, if we get a data which is cherry picked, which is hand picked, it would always show us a beautiful picture when we are deploying it. But the moment we actually deploy it to production, is going to ruin everything. So you have to be very much pragmatic about the way we are building a data engineering pipeline, and it should always reflect same everywhere. Let's say you have staging, you have test, you have production. Everywhere the pipeline should always be the same.
And this is a pattern we have observed with many other clients as well, which is we ask them for data for our first POC, and their data scientists will build a nice Jupyter notebook where they will clean the data. They will give this batch, which is cherry picked, as you mentioned, and you build a model, you build a rack solution, whatever. It works beautifully. And they think that, okay, maybe we will implement this data cleaning approach in production, but doing data engineering at scale by keeping in mind data governance, etc., is a different ball altogether compared to writing a single Jupyter notebook. So it's really important, if any of the founders are watching this video, you need to think about data engineering. You need to think about how you can provide high quality data for your AI solution on a continuous basis. It should not be one off. There should be a pipeline setup in production which works all the time.
And just to add a bit to that, it's also widely said that data is becoming the new moat, it's becoming the new oil, or it is becoming a differentiator. The reason for that is many models are available in open source. I'm not again talking about proprietary LLMs or proprietary models, but many models that we are using today are open source. The thing that changes the outputs, the results, is the quality of data that you are providing to it.
Right, let's move on to the fourth project, which is market intelligence. I was not involved in that project much, so I would like you to share your views.
So what we did for the market intelligence client was we were capturing the data that they already had. They have been, by the way, collecting data for last 40 years. The problem that they face is they don't have much control over the data that has been input. So they can, of course, like they can change certain things. They can clean the data as per their expertise. They can also run certain heuristics on top of it. But what they wanted to do was they wanted to find out if the data is looking anomalous at any given point. So you would see like there are multiple brands who are producing the data. Since they are marketing intelligence companies, they'll be looking across the brands. Now, every brand has their fixed pattern. They have their fixed characteristics of the products they launch. In this case, the problem that we were discovering for them was if a product from brand A looks like a product from brand B. Why? Because somebody who's giving you a data could actually have might have screwed up in the upstream of data. So this was very important thing for them that we are able to find them anomalies across their data set.
Okay. And the last project is the client we had in ESG domain. Okay. So that is a recent project. We were just having a demo a few weeks back. So I would like you to mention some findings from that project.
So before we go on to the finding, I'll go to the business model of it. This is a common problem across all the business consulting companies that their consultation is limited to the people that they have. Now, the problem that is happening right now is the hourly rates are increasing. The capacity that at human can do things would always be limited. And you can't always hike prices up. You can't always expect AI to do everything at the same time as well. So we came up with an approach for them. So what we're doing for them right now is they have this AI enabled platform, AI first platform, and they have expert consultants. Now what happens is all the grunt work, all the task, all the data extraction is done by AI agents. The consultants are just doing the practical work, are just doing the creative work. So what ends up happening is you're saving some hours for the consultants and at the same time just letting consultants do the high value job. Now, again, like as it is commonly said, it's not just AI alone, it's not just human alone, it's AI plus human. This is the right amalgamation that we should be focusing on. Additionally, one thing that we did for this client was we helped them create a platform as SaaS. So now what happens is people who want to get consultation from a human can simply do it. People who simply want some insights and then make sense out of it on their own, or just simply get basic search and basic reports out of the platform, they can do it themselves as well. So this frees up the consultant's time from smaller, low value project, but at the same time, bringing up the revenue of the agency as well.
All right. Well, those are the 5 use cases that we wanted to mention today. We also shared our learnings. These are the learnings that you can use to implement your projects in 2026 and beyond. We will continue sharing our insights from the real projects that we are working on at AtliQ Technologies on this channel. So please keep an eye on it. If you have any questions, please post that in the comment box below. Thank you very much for watching.